Marketer of the Day, episode 535. Invest and test your Facebook ads with Monica Louie.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're talking right now with Facebook ad strategist Monica Louie, and Monica helps ambitious online entrepreneurs grow their impact and their profits by harnessing the power of Facebook ads. And she's also the creator of Flourish with Facebook Ads, which is a step-by-step Facebook ad system to help bloggers, coaches, and online experts create campaigns that convert. You can find out more about her at monicalouie.com. So Monica, glad to be talking to you.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here, and I just want to drop a link for you real quick, monicalouie.com/Robert. So as people are listening today, if you're curious about the 5 questions you must answer before spending any money on Facebook ads, head on over to monicalouie.com/Robert as we're getting started today. So Monica, Facebook ads, what do you have to say about them?
They're awesome. They're a lot of fun. And there's a lot of different things that you can do with Facebook ads to grow your business.
Okay, and I'm excited to jump into that because I don't know about you, but it seems to me like the sort of the frustration with Facebook and with their ad platform and things like that is it always feels like if I just throw some money down the drain, if I throw some money at some sort of post, Facebook will like it and they'll give me lots of attention on it. But then when I actually want to do something with that, when I want to move traffic off my website or build a list or something, it seems like Facebook doesn't like that. And I know it's not that black and white, but sort of figuring it out through trial and error sure feels that way. So can you maybe like enlighten us and tell us like what the heck are we supposed to have as far as like a mindset going into this Facebook ad stuff?
Sure. So with Facebook ads, what I see, one of the things that I see missing a lot when people are getting frustrated with Facebook ads is that there's a lack of a clear strategy. And so anytime you're investing money in your business, of course, you want to have a clear strategy. So what is that money going to help you do? What is the end goal? And so a lot of times we see the, boost post button on our Facebook post, and Facebook encourages us to hit that button because our post is, getting more engagement than 85% of the other posts on our page right now. So of course, don't you want to put some more money toward it? And a lot of times people hit that button, thinking that they have a strategy because doesn't everybody want more eyes on their Facebook posts and on what the message that they have to share. But a lot of times they don't think all the way through of what is the best use of those dollars. And, is running this ad on this specific post the best use of my dollars? And I think a lot of times it's really being more strategic and creating a campaign in the ads manager where you're thinking through what is the end goal? So do I want to grow my list? Do I want to drive traffic to this specific blog post? What is it that I really want to use my ad dollars for? And then creating a campaign and a strategy around that.
Great. So don't get tempted by the slot machine of Facebook saying, here, you can just click this one button and we'll solve all your problems for you. Have that end goal, figure out the strategy, and make ads for that. And so sometimes like I'll see ads and I'll sometimes make ads like going to like a website, a landing page. That part makes sense. But then I'll see people run ads that'll go to just like some random blog posts, and I'll kind of be wondering or have some guesses about what they're trying to accomplish here. But can you sort of explain to us like that sort of strategy? Like if someone says, okay, well, I'm going to be running different ads for different things. I'm going to run an ad to a blog post where people, maybe they can opt in, but it's not super like directing them towards that. Maybe they can click and buy something, but it's not just to buy something. So why the heck would we want to send Facebook traffic over to a blog post like that?
Yes. So this is a strategy that I do with a lot of my clients where a lot of times we'll talk about how they envision using Facebook ads in their business. And then we talk through the potential ideas of what we could do. And a lot of times we do start with a simple traffic campaign where we're driving traffic to a blog post. And in that situation, the blog post is monetized in some way. So it could be monetized in a few different ways, but usually it's monetized at least with some affiliate links throughout the blog post. So the content creator gets revenue if somebody, a reader, clicks on the affiliate link and ends up, it could just be signing up for a free trial of some product that they recommended, but they could get some commission for that. And then the it can also be monetized with display ads. So this is something that a lot of my blogging clients do, where we drive traffic for super cheap from Facebook to these monetized blog posts, and they are savvy enough to know that they're making, 10, 15, 20, 25 cents per page view of that blog post. So then once we get the cost per click down low enough, we have a really nice machine that we just fuel the fire with to increase their revenue on their monetized blog posts. And so that could be one reason why somebody's promoting a blog post. Another reason could be to create that audience. So if you have the Facebook pixel on your website, then you can use Facebook uses that pixel code to collect data about your website visitors. So then you can create audiences of people who visited this specific blog post that you've promoted on Facebook, and know that those people are interested in that topic that was in that blog post that you shared. And then maybe you follow up with another ad about your webinar that is also related to that topic that the blog post was about. And so then you get in front of them again on Facebook because you know they showed interest in that topic. So they're more likely to be interested in your webinar. And you can also use that audience of the blog post visitors to create a lookalike audience. So you can use Facebook to find more people who are also likely to be interested in that topic, and then you can promote your webinar to them. So it really does open up possibilities, and you can get very creative about how you can, use a traffic strategy of a traffic campaign strategy to fuel the other areas of your business that you want to find more people who are interested in that same topic for.
Super cool. So the strategy is making more sense to me, that you're not just doing a one and done ad. You're saying either I know my numbers, I know that if I get traffic to my website, to my blog, then I'll get 20 to 25 cents per page view. So knowing that, I know sort of where my ceiling is. And then number two, you can say, well, I'll send traffic to this blog post and then get them cookied with the pixel. So that way Facebook has a record of them being on the site, and then you can run ads in the future to that smaller audience who's already visited your site, which makes perfect sense because that sounds like something that Facebook would want, where they wouldn't want you to necessarily blast a whole ad to a ton of people. They'd want you to run your first round of ads, have people click and warm them up a little bit, and then them having known of you a little bit and known of your blog, then they're like, okay, well, let's run an ad to this smaller group, and not only that, but run the lookalike audience. So also now that you've sort of drilled down and you say, well, this type of person and this audience wants to view my ads, so now I'll just run this ad to this sort of similar demographic of people. Am I sort of on the right track with some of your strategies here?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. And so this all makes sense as far as warming people up. But then when it comes to on Facebook, when you're looking at like the targeting of people, do you have any sort of strategy with that? Like, do you look at similar ads, or do you normally look for like certain numbers, or you say like, let me target like these 5 interests, but then exclude these 5 other things? Or like, what's sort of your thought process if a client comes to you, they say, I have a blog in this niche, then how do you go about figuring out who to put the ads in front of?
Yes. So I like to, figure out what is the strategy. Is the strategy just to get in front of their warm audience already with Facebook ads as another touch point, or is the strategy or the goal to grow their audience? And usually it's a little bit of both. And so if that's the case, then I like to create several different audiences, and I take them down through the audience heat spectrum, as I call it. So we have the warm audiences. So that would be your website visitors if you've got the pixel on your website. And then your email list, so the email subscribers who have already opted in that they want to hear from you. Your Facebook fans, so they've already clicked that like button that they want to see your Facebook post. And then you can do engaged with page and engage with a page audience, which will include people who've engaged with your page or other ads in some way, but they may or may not have hit the like button to actually say that they want to follow your page, but they have shown some kind of interest in what you already share. So those are the warmer audiences that I usually start with. And then I create lookalike audiences of those. And so that we can find more people who are like each of those groups. And then if we have a specific topic, so just like the blog post strategy that we were talking about, then if there's a specific topic where, like, one of my clients has one of the categories on his blog, he talks about student loans, student loan debt, getting out of student loan debt. And so we might narrow in on a lot of his more trafficked blog posts around student loan debt and create a lookalike audience of those website visitors to also show our ads to regarding, the next student loan blog post. So you can get creative there. But I look at what are all the opportunities for audiences, and then from there, then I may or may not test the detailed targeting audience. I like to do the warm audiences and the lookalikes first. But if I'm starting with a client that has a very small audience, maybe their email list is really small, or they don't get a lot of traffic, then we might include one or two of the detailed targeting where we're targeting specific interests and creating kind of a profile of their ideal audience member for this ad.
Cool. Well, it's very interesting that you kind of start with the audience that they already have, and then kind of build around it a little bit instead of having to sort of start from scratch. So just to make sure I heard you right, so you have this whole spectrum here. You start with the website visitors where they place the pixel on all their different pages, all their blog posts. That way you can run ads to those. You import their email subscribers. That way we're getting the same people, just also talking to them on Facebook. You're targeting their fans that like the page, the fans that engage with the page, and the page audience. And then you create lookalike audiences for those. So now you're tapping into all these different ways that, all these different sort of avenues that Facebook allows you to either talk to your people, or talk to your people more, or talk to their friends, or talk to people who are kind of similar to them in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yeah, I like to have Facebook do the work, because the algorithm is really sophisticated, where they do a great job, even if you have a small email list or a small, source audience, which is what Facebook looks at when creating the lookalike audience. They still do a really great job of finding the right people who should be in those lookalike audiences. So I like to put the work on Facebook to figure out who is most likely to be interested in my ad by creating those lookalike audiences whenever I can.
Super cool. And then so you mentioned that you had the client that had the blog posts on student loan debt and stuff like that. Do you have any sort of like either that story or story like that where like someone came to you and they said, here's my website, and you kind of worked through a plan? Do you have any sort of interesting tales to tell about something like that?
Sure. So I started when I started online with my first blog, it was in the personal finance space. So a lot of my clients are in the personal finance space as well. And so one of my clients, he has this course, and he was wanting to promote his webinar. He was working on his evergreen webinar that would be a free training that would let people build a relationship with him and do some teaching. And then at the end, he would promote his product. And he had the webinar, he had this amazing product, but he was having trouble getting his costs down to get people into the webinar. And so I think when we started working together, his cost per webinar of registration was like $11 or $12 from his Facebook ads. And so we did some tweaks to his audiences and to his ad copy. And then we were able to get the cost per registration down to $2 for his webinar. And then that created a really nice system of, feeding Facebook $2 per each registrant, and then leading them into the webinar that then he could see that the revenue was coming out on the back end. So his return on investment for that strategy was 322%. So that's a really nice place to be in, where you know that you've got things so fine-tuned that your ads are working, you're targeting the right audiences. And with the lookalike audiences, then you can include, if you're in the United States, those audiences are anywhere from 2 to 10 million or more. So you can really have a lot of potential there by finding more people on Facebook who are likely to be interested and need the information that you have to share.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream right there, is just to say, to have your numbers dialed down so much that you say, well, if I have this evergreen webinar, if I know that it's going to cost me $2 per registrant, if I can put $1,000 into that, get 500 people on the webinar, based on how that converts, how that performs, I can get 3 grand, 4 grand out of that, and then just recycle that over and over again. I mean, that's where everyone wants to be. And so you mentioned that a lot of this involves like getting the ad set up and then getting the costs reduced. So what sort of things do you look for, or what do you do to get those ad costs down?
Yes. So I like to test a variety of different audiences. So that's why I listed a whole bunch of different audiences there when we were talking about that, because you never know what's going to work. And it might be that, this group of audiences works really well in this campaign, but then your next campaign, it's a different set of audiences that really performs well. So that's why I like to start off with a bunch of different audiences, testing those, and then I do test different variations of the ad. So we might do an image ad, a static image. We might do a carousel ad with multiple images. We might test a video ad. Maybe we test different images, different versions of the headline, which is the larger text underneath the image in an image ad. We'll test different versions of the ad copy. So really, there's a lot of things that you can play with in testing and tweaking. And so really, just to make it simple and use the budget most efficiently, then I like to test a lot of different audiences first with one version of the ad. And then once we kind of narrow down which of our audiences are converting the best with the first version of the ad, then maybe we test out a different image or we test a different headline. So we just make one tweak at a time and really see, well, this longer headline converted better than the shorter headline. So now maybe we'll test the longer headline with a different image and see if we can drive the cost down even further.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you just kind of choose one variable at a time and keep going forward. And so is this pretty fast paced? Like each iteration are we talking like a day, a few days, a few weeks? Like what's sort of the time frame on this from when you start plugging away at ads to when you start to get this thing dialed in?
Sure. So when we create the campaign initially, we like to let it go. We test a variety of different audiences. And if the client has a larger budget to work with, then we can do some of these tests simultaneously. So we're testing different audiences and we're testing those audiences with different versions of the ad. And so we get it created and then we don't touch it for 2 to 3 days. So we try to give Facebook, the algorithm, 72 hours to really kind of figure out what's working, what's not. And then we'll see, okay, these audiences are clearly converting better. These ones, not so much. Or this version of the ad is clearly outperforming this other version of the ad. So then after 3 days, we turn off what's not working. We start to, if we're finding that our costs are really great and where we want them to be, then we'll start to slowly increase the budget. But we may also do that while we're continuing to test and see just how low we can get our costs down to. So I give it at least 3 days before we make any kind of changes or turn things off. But then once we get it going and we've done some testing and we're seeing like, okay, these ones are performing at this rate. Now we tried this new version of the ad and it's just not coming down in line close enough. After 2 days, I might turn it off a little early, but generally I do like to give the algorithm enough time to kind of figure it out because we'll see that costs start higher, but then they do come down within the next couple of days.
Cool. So what I'm hearing from you a few times here is that like Facebook's machine, their algorithm, their whatever they have behind the curtain is really dialed in. So you have to just do a lot of not a lot of, but some waiting and let them do their magic. And then while you're getting that set up, you can use all these different kind of tools they have available for you. Like you got the audience targeting figured out with the lookalikes, things like that. Try out different sorts of ads with like image ads, carousels ad, a video ad, and then sort of go through the process where there are a couple handfuls of different things to do, but there's not like an unlimited number of things. You just kind of figure out where your fit is. But it sounds like that there are a lot of ways to go wrong. Like we said when we started that some people out there, they just click the boost post button and they think that's a plan. But with you, you say, well, what are we trying to accomplish? What are these different things I'm going to put into place? And I'm sure that there are a lot of ways where people can go wrong with their Facebook ads. So does anything come to mind when we just think about, ways that like common but easy to correct things about Facebook ads here?
Yeah. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see, so one that we've talked about is lack of strategy. And then the second one would be a lack of commitment to the process and taking the time to really test and figure out what works. So, that's where we see you turn on the campaign and then maybe like 3 hours later, oh my gosh, my costs are through the roof. I want to turn it off and stop wasting money. So people get, a little bit too quick on the trigger to just determine that Facebook ads don't work for them, or they just haven't figured it out. But my clients that are the most successful really have a mindset of wanting to invest and test a few different things, a few different strategies, and then really just see, what we can do to figure out what works. And so sometimes we hit it out of the park, with the very first campaign, the very first ad. And other times it's a learning process where we, learn things from the first campaign that went okay, but then we figure out, okay, well, really the people who are resonating with this type of ad are men, for example, men in this age group. And so we might take that knowledge into the next campaign, or, this audience or this type of image really connected with the audience. So every time we create a campaign, it's a learning experience. And so just keeping that in mind as you go into this. So you want to have money that you can invest. You don't need a lot to test. I like to start out with $5 a day, maybe $10 for a conversion campaign per audience, per version of the ad. So you can test for maybe $20, $30, $40 a day and figure out what's working. And then once you settle in on something that is working, then you start to slowly increase the budget. So don't think you need to put a lot of money up front, but it does take some investment so that you can test these different things.
I like that a lot. Very logical. So that way people don't need to think that they need to just be dumping a bunch of money into Facebook, and they also shouldn't be afraid of Facebook ads because they can just do a little bit every day. And so now that we sort of kind of chit-chatted about Facebook ads here, where do you come in? Are you the kind of person that only teaches Facebook ads? Do you like to take over Facebook ads for people? Like, what sort of things do you provide when it comes to Facebook ads?
Yeah, so I've got 3 areas of my business that I offer. I have my coaching, which is where I started. So I work with my clients to create the campaigns together. So we're talking through the strategy. They bring their knowledge about their audience and their offer, and then we put it together to create a campaign together. And then I got so busy with that I was really feeling like there wasn't enough of me to go around with the interest in working with me. So I created my course last summer, so Flourish with Facebook Ads. So that's a course where I teach these strategies that I do with my clients. And so then you can take it step by step to implement it in your own business. And now I've been growing my ads management side of my business. So I'm growing my team to help support all of our clients with taking on their ads for them, because there are people in different stages of their business where they have different needs. And so what I'm realizing is that there are a lot of people who want to use Facebook ads, they want to work with me, but they don't necessarily want to be the one in the ads manager testing all the different variations of the ad. And so my team and I take that on for them.
That's really great. So if people don't want to be super hands-on with the ads, they want you to just take care of it, that's an option. But then also if they do want to learn the ins and outs, and they can take your course and figure it out and then apply it for themselves. And so we mentioned at the beginning of our call that we have this freebie called 5 questions you must answer before spending any money on Facebook ads. And that is at monicalouie.com/Robert. And so if people are listening to our conversation here today, what's a really good reason why they should go and just rush over to monicalouie.com/Robert and claim this free guide from you?
Yeah, so this takes you through the questions that you must answer before jumping into the ads manager to create your campaign. So this walks you through all the steps so you have all your ducks in a row. You know what your strategy is, you know what your budget is, you know what audiences you're going to test. So, and I also include a checklist so you have everything ready. So you're not getting into the ads manager and then trying to figure it out on the fly. You can think through this and then go in much better prepared to create a high converting campaign.
Super awesome. So in other words, don't go in there without a plan, because you'll end up just being confused or wasting a bunch of money. It's better to have a checklist from someone who does it all day long, who is an expert at this, so that way we can just follow in your footsteps instead of trying to have to blaze our own trail, right?
Exactly.
Super cool. So monicalouie.com/Robert is the place to claim that guide, that checklist. And so do you want to send us to any other websites, or is just monicalouie.com/Robert the place to be?
monicalouie.com/Robert is the place to be. You can also find me on Facebook at monicalouie.com/Facebook.
Super awesome. So if you are curious at all about getting more traffic to your website, which you should, if you want to get more attention on your blog, if you want more of a bigger list, more of an audience, if you want to fill up that evergreen webinar, whatever the case may be, don't ignore Facebook. Don't ignore Facebook ads. And if in the past Facebook ads have been confusing, overwhelming, just not worth the trouble for you, well then guess what? Things have suddenly changed starting today. So what you need to do right now is go to monicalouie.com/Robert, fill in the form, and get that guide so that now your world can begin to change. And now you can take advantage, you can use this whole opportunity of Facebook ads that most of your competitors are not. So go to monicalouie.com/Robert, monicalouie.com/Robert, and claim that free Facebook ads guide. So as we're winding down our conversation today, is there anything you want to just kind of end the conversation with here? Do you have any kind of message to give everyone out there who's curious about Facebook ads?
I just know that with over 2 billion users on Facebook each month, I mean, your audience is likely on Facebook. They're scrolling through their news feed, and it's a great place to get in front of them to share your message so that you can help make an impact in their lives and share your message with them.
This is Robert Plank. And would you like to be a guest on the program? Do you have an idea for a future episode, or do you just want to tell us how we're doing? Get in touch with us right now at marketeroftheday.com/ask to let us know.